Rojo Builds, and I've been asked a couple of times in the comments about the big block Chevy. You know, put the big block Chevy inside something, and I never really completed talking about where that got left at, pretty much, because certain things came up. Um, and those of you that follow the channel know what I'm talking about. And I will be talking a little bit more about that, but I actually have to wait. But enough with the mystery of that. Um, the bib block will stop that being a short block. So let me flip the. So this is where she's at. I'm actually here cleaning up the garage some. I just literally had the pan on here laying out, but I want to have to clearance the pan to clear this. It's hitting on the crankscaper is hitting on some of the bolts on the mains, so it's pretty much stopped that being a short block. I wasn't gonna go into much detail on this build, so to speak. I was gonna talk pretty much a little bit about it, and like I wasn't gonna detail like the cam specs I'm going with or whatnot, because this motor, when it does go into the Nova, and I do update the chassis on the Nova, I mean update the cage, eventually I would try to grudge race the car when I have the bib block in it. As long as the small block is in the car, I feel free. I consider it more like a bracket car. I feel free to talk more about it, but I'm trying to really push the limits of a factory block, bib block Chevy with this combination. And let me flip it around. So hold on. So I'll turn this block around and I'll come right back. So this is the motor from the bore side of things, and I'm gonna bring it to approximate top dead center here. So we got some big healthy boys in here. This motor should run really decently on motor, but the main focus is to spray it. I will be hitting this with a fairly healthy dose of nitrous. I actually have the fogger set up and everything for it. The nitrous system is definitely more than what this motor is gonna be sprayed, but this is the short block, again, factory block, just 30 over. I didn't fill it. As long as I don't like rattle it, I think the bottom end on big block Chevys are fairly strong enough. Is normally honestly up here where they will be cracking, not down south. So this is again the lower half, and then this is the head I will be using. I was a little disappointed. This is, again, I'm not trying to come out or come after any company here, but this head came off of a motor that a now defunct engine building house. It was one of their 632 motors, and my friend had bought a motor from them, and from the second that he got it from them, it was actually, he had nothing but issues. He ended up pulling the motor apart, and I was able to get the heads, fairly at a fairly good deal. So I pulled everything out of it, valve train wise, and someone had, did what they thought was porting on this, and yeah, they kind of opened the throats up. Let me see, I have a light here. All right, and if you measure the throat, they opened the throat way too far. They got way too aggressive with it, and It's pretty much at a 93% throat. I would like to not, and I don't really. This is a small bore motors. I can't really go with a bigger valve without hitting the cylinder. You can go with a bigger valve, one step bigger. Um, I could also offset dial the motor, and there's just other tricks. But the closer you get that valve to the cylinder, it creates another issue. So I'm just gonna run it as is. I'm gonna do this is in line with some port work. Um, I have a lot of porting to do in the next like 2 months. I probably have a total of 6 or 7 pairs of heads. Again, this is not my full time job, so I have a fair bit of heads, and I might actually show some recordings. There's some LS deals. I have like 2 LS3 base heads, one cathedral head, um, some small block Chevy stuff. So, and then I got this. This is probably in the end of the line. So, long story short, this bit block ain't gonna come out most likely this year. I might actually have this on the dyno this year though. So, you'll see it on the dyno, see what she makes for power. And the dyno that we're going on, I'd be willing to share the numbers there because the dyno is super conservative. I mean, this dyno is what you call a heartbreaker. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's properly calibrated, and I hope my friend doesn't hear this, because it just the numbers are always super low. But as a famous drag racer, pro stock racer, not Bob Glidden, it was Grumpy Jenkins. He would say, "I don't race dynos," and it's 100% true. So honestly, I don't even care about the horsepower there. If it makes, anywhere in the 700 range, I'm happy. I know it makes more than that. Um, because like I said, I've seen 500 horse motors come off his dyno and run well low into the nines. So let that sink in. Um, and then meanwhile, if you go to other online sources and you see what comes off their dynos, they're making 700 horsepower on their dyno, and they can't even break into the nines, or even break into the tens, or it's just crazy. Anyway, let me shut up with that. So this is the head. They're a World Products 350. They're the Merlin 350cc head. So some will say this is a little bit in the big side. And for the most part, I would kind of agree. In an NA deal, I would say, ooh, almost made a mess here. In an NA deal, I would say, yeah, they're a little bit on the big side for 496. But will they work, especially under nitrous? Absolutely. The nitrous is gonna fill up. It's an oxidizer, so I'm gonna fill that up with nitrous, and which is gonna bring oxygen. Pack it full of fuel and see what happens. As long as I get these heads to move air. On the flow bench, they flowed good port. Good port was 360. Peaked around 360 or so, almost 370, I believe. And bad port, almost 350. So I think I'd get a little bit more out of it. I think I'd get these in the 400 range, without going too crazy. And for this size cubic inch, it should be more than enough, more than plenty. And we'll see what she does. So the 496 is in here. The cam's in there. If I was gonna go to a stream and I had unlimited budget, I would go to a bigger lifter. Absolutely go with a bigger lifter. But I'm only restricted by funds and whatnot. This should still work. Should still make plenty of power. Plenty of power. I'm not actually worried about the power standpoint, and the combination is making sure the chassis could hold all the power once it's all coming in. Um, so that being said, I end the video here. The big block Chevy is still alive. I still have more stuff to it. But hopefully, probably by the end of summer, we'll see more of this, and maybe even seeing this motor get on the dyno. So this is Bro Joe Builds. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell.